Winning cures everything. Now for your hosts, Gary and Chris.
Welcome in, Winning Cures Everything. It's college basketball madness, and God, I love it so much. I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
I am watching Tennessee and Florida right now. By the way, you were looking at another half-vaccinated man. So went today, got my, I don't know if you can see it or not, but I've got my Band-Aid on. So I had to sit in the line, and thanks to, I'm going to give free ads out, thanks to YouTube TV and Verizon for having fantastic internet service. All of the National Guard guys that were part of the health team up there were coming over to me, asking me for the score to the Alabama-Mississippi State basketball game. So,
well, they didn't have to ask but once because
it got pretty bad.
It was an ass thrashing from almost the 4 or 5 minute mark.
Yes, it was a beatdown. It was an absolute beatdown. So, is what it is. I hate Josh Primo. Like a star freshman for Alabama, looks like he may be out. So
he's definitely not playing tomorrow.
Most certainly.
Let's hope it's not long term though.
I hope he's back in time for the NCAA tournament. That's
all you care about, right?
Yeah.
Like all of this, winning the SEC championship would be awesome.
Yes.
But you don't, when you got a shot to make a real run. So let me ask you, I've got a question.
Okay.
I want to ask you this. Would you, as a Bama fan, rather have an SEC championship? Because don't give me the regular season stuff. I don't care. Nobody cares about who won the regular season ever in basketball. That's not how basketball is played, okay?
Right.
Would you rather have won the SEC but go out one and done in the tournament, or lose the SEC next round and make like a Sweet 16 or an Elite 8 run, or possibly farther? But I'm just giving you just an Elite 8. Let's cut it in half.
Alabama has made one Elite 8 in their history.
Yeah,
I would take the Elite 8.
Was that in your lifetime? Did that happen?
No. Yes, it wasn't.
I don't think
it was in 2000. It was the 2003-2004 season. Kennedy Winston was the star on that team.
I was trying to figure out. I don't remember it, but I'm sure I thought it happened.
It was upset
while we were alive.
I mean, it was so Alabama they got hot towards the end of the season. They were 18-13 going into the NCAA tournament. They were a 9 seed. They had to win their first game, which was technically an upset. They won the second game over the number 1 seed in the field, Stanford, at the time. That's how far back that was, when Stanford was actually really, really good at basketball.
Stanford used to be awesome. No, I do. Okay, you saying this, I remember all of it now.
Yep, and then they upset Syracuse in the Sweet 16, and then got run over by Emeka Okafor and UConn in the Elite Eight.
I remember all, because that was UConn's championship year.
Yep, I think that was the first one, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Jim Calhoun, that was that
was Calhoun's title. I remember that, and I think I'm with you. I'm 100% like, if you told me LSU could win the SEC, be awesome. No championship's a bad championship, or they could lose today to Ole Miss, but make a run in the tournament. I don't even saying win the tournament.
Just get to the second weekend.
Hang on. This is why college football has killed itself with only focusing on the winner.
Yes.
If they make the playoffs bigger, so many more teams can say they had a ultra successful season just by making a run.
Yes, I'm with you. I am with you. Let's jump in through some of these comments real quick because they are coming in furiously today. Taylor jumps in, said, "Happy Friday." McKinnon said, "Me and the boy are watching WCE while we wait for prescriptions to be filled." He said, "Starting them on the good stuff young." That's what I'm talking about. Damien said, "What's up, Chris? How you feel about CSM resigning?"
CSM resigning? Who is that? I don't do well with abbreviations. I think he's trying to say Cam re-signing.
Yeah.
We're going to get to that. Yeah.
Casey said, "Man, I did like Zach Wilson as the second best quarterback in the draft, but after seeing Trey Lance's pro day, no. Hey,
we're not talking about that.
Pro days.
We're not talking about that. If you fall in love with a guy in a pro day, listen, that is a dude that fell in love with a first date with the craziest bitch at the bar. Okay, that is danger. That chick is a dude. You don't want to do that, man. That is scary as hell.
Oh yeah, look. We saw Trey Lance play against Central Arkansas.
Yep,
and he was not very good.
Yeah, no.
That's all I'm saying.
I'm
it's
telling
not saying
you,
that he can't be good in the NFL. All
that's
I'm saying
right.
is,
not that he can't be good.
You know.
Just don't. What he did today is irrelevant to anything you've ever seen. Watch these people play football.
Yes, the
underwear
the
Olympics
days,
mean nothing.
No, the pro days are set up specifically for them to be successful. That's what they're set up for.
This wasn't even on our thing to talk about today, but I actually want to bring this up. I was upset that they let go to the combine. Because it's NFL conversation that I get to talk about because I'm just fiending for NFL content right now all the time. Maybe not this week and next week, but the last several weeks and then the next couple of weeks in the past. One of the reasons why is because the teams have realized we don't need it. And the basis point is we don't care, like for the 40-yard dash, because now players in college are using GPS technology that's in the helmets. They can actually see how fast you play. So they really don't care how fast you run in underwear, in a straight line, not holding the football and not in pads, obviously. That doesn't matter if you play slow. And with the GPS technology, they can judge everybody on, can this cornerback play fast or does he play slow? This receiver, do they play not? And so they no longer need the 40-yard dash. They no longer need to see how many push-ups you can do or how high you can jump because they're getting the information from watching you play football,
exactly.
which is what I've been screaming forever. Please don't fall in love with guys in the combine. Please don't fall in love with guys at pro day. It's a dangerous thing to do.
Yes, you are 100%.
They're all
correct.
liars, by the way. They're all liars. Football film, when you're going up against a guy that wants to destroy you, that wants to physically hurt you and harm you, that's when everybody tells the truth.
Yes, you get to actually see the truth play out. Yeti jumped in. He said, "Sup, fellas, can we just skip the Alabama State game?"
Yeah, we're going to skip over it. We're not even going to talk about it.
There you go. Terry said, "What's up,
spoke about it enough."
Casey said Missouri's going to win the SEC tournament. Not if they play like they did last night. I will tell you that. They'll probably go out
on
tonight.
Them last night. I against them last night, and I covered, but I lost the bet. I mean, I lost the money line, but I covered, so I pushed.
Yep. There you go. Damien said Cam. There we go.
Cam.
Let's see. Taylor said some people like when their chicks are dudes.
No doubt, no judging. I don't judge anybody for anything when it comes to that stuff. I'm pretty open when it comes to that crap. It doesn't matter to me. I'm just telling you be who you portray yourself to be.
Yes.
Okay. That's all I'm saying. No false advertisement, because that's not cool.
I agree with that.
You don't lie to yourself. You don't lie to the public. You just let everybody know this is who I am.
Terry jumps in. I would look good throwing the ball in my drawers. Well, maybe I've got 15 years, or I would have 15 years ago. Damien said, question with all these teams dropping out of tournaments, do y'all think it could cancel March Madness again? We're going to get to that. And then Casey, I'm calling it, Trey Lance will be the second best quarterback from this class. He fell in love with Trey Lance today, apparently. He said
fine.
There's another comment about him being a better quarterback than Justin Fields, and
there's a fool born every day.
I don't know about all that. All right, let's get into the actual topics at hand. Write my times down here. Kansas out of the Big 12 tournament. Their game against Texas is canceled tonight. They have a COVID positive, and it is somebody that actually played in the game last night. So you've only got a handful of options there. Virginia, their game against Georgia Tech, canceled. Georgia Tech moves on to the championship game because Virginia has a positive. Duke and Florida State yesterday was canceled because Duke had one positive. This is not going to be what's happening in these tournaments is not what March Madness is going to be. Like, it's just not. It's not even close because there are so many protocols set up for the NCAA. However, it could get squirrely on Monday, Tuesday when they're talking about doing replacements. How do you feel about this, Chris?
Oh, I'm okay with it. I will tell you that I don't think any of the teams that have dropped out. So Duke dropping out hurt them because they're no longer going to be able to get in the tournament. I didn't think there was a snowball chance in hell of them getting in anyway. Some people thought if they beat Florida State, they would be in. I don't see that. I think if they got in, it would be only because their name is Duke, and you know how I hate that stuff.
Yep. Let's
judge them based on this year, this team. This year, this team would have had to win the tournament, and I don't think they could have won it. I think they would have hit way too many roadblocks, and I actually think Florida State would have smoked them. So my personal opinion, we'll never know, and they're out. Virginia and Kansas, they're going. And Virginia's going to be a hell of a seed. They need to get their COVID stuff. They need to make sure they have no more positives, and they are ready to play. This is a team that could win the tournament. So that they are the ones so far out of everybody that's gotten hit that actually need to make sure they get a real strong hold on this.
Oh, yes, most certainly. I'm a little curious about this because you have to have 7 consecutive negative tests before you are allowed to play in the NCAA tournament.
But they're all going to be in the bubble for 7 days, though, right?
Well, they can't even go to the bubble until they get the 7 tests.
That's right.
So, like, they will travel.
That's right.
They will travel to Indianapolis, but they cannot step sight on an NCAA tournament site. They can't step foot on an NCAA tournament site until they have 7 consecutive negative tests.
But they're going to the hotel.
Okay, they're going to the hotel.
Yeah.
But, like, they're going to be in Indianapolis, but they don't get to play.
They're going to be in Indianapolis for the sole purpose. But normally they wouldn't go that early. The only reason they're going this early is to quarantine.
Yes. Now, what I'm curious about is how are they not quarantined right now? Like, how is this happening right now?
Yeah, I thought it was strange. One of the things Duke was being criticized for is they didn't choose to quarantine at the ACC tournament.
Yeah, they were driving.
They were
from
actually
Greensboro
driving back and
to
forth.
Durham. Yeah,
which means you're leaving kids on campus and around, other students and a lot of other people, the general pop, and lo and behold, somebody gets hit. I think that was a mistake. I don't think it was intentional. I just think they were, they thought we can control them better at Duke than we can in the hotel. But I think they were wrong there, and I kind of think we were proving that they were wrong.
Well, but now at the same time, like, it may have been something that happened before they even went to the ACC tournament because this stuff does sit for a while before it can actually test positive.
Yeah,
so
we still all we know about this virus is some people can catch it and know immediately. Some people can catch it and 10 days later it shows up.
Yeah,
they can be negative, quarantined for an entire week, and then after quarantining, still pop positive.
Ohio State and Purdue just went to overtime. I don't know if you saw that or not.
Yeah, I was watching that game because the Florida-Tennessee game was getting a little squirrely on them.
Yeah, it's 66-50 right now. Hey, at what point do you think Florida coach Mike White just gave up? Like, I'm not talking about in the game. I'm just talking like, have you seen like his neck and like the way he dresses now? Like, when he first got there, he had like this perfect haircut and was like clean shaven all the time and had suits on, like a button down, all that all the time. Like, he looked just like perfect, right? And now, like, I mean, that hair is just a complete mess. He looks like this all the time now. So I'm
it definitely looks like the I don't know, is it the stress of the job? Is it,
that might be part of it. I mean, when he first got there, like he was fresh off of, coaching Louisiana Tech to several NCAA tournaments and things. He was a good young
when everything's going good, you look good. I mean, he looks like a dude that's been on a bender for a while.
Exactly. He looks rough right now. So, back to Kansas, Virginia, and Duke. Yeah. The issue right now is they've had one COVID positive. They had, like, at 2 of these teams had players actually play in games. Duke had a walk-on that didn't play. The other 2 had guys that were on the floor on games or in games on Thursday. Do we know, like, obviously they're around each other, like, in the locker room and all that kind of stuff. If one of them popped positive, like, the contact tracing is going to be nuts. What happens with Kansas and Virginia now? Like, are they possibly not going to be allowed in?
I don't think so. I think they're getting away from the regular season protocols. I think we're getting away from the word contact tracing. I haven't heard them using that at all. I think it is, if you test positive, you're out. And if you don't, you're in. As long as we can keep you from testing positive, then we're okay.
It is still, so the way that the rules are set up, Ben said, what are the protocols if a team gets COVID in the tournament? Well, just because you get a positive case does not mean that you are out. What it means is all of them have these little devices, and I forget the name of the company, but it's a device that was meant for, like, health checks, and it's kind of like what's in a Fitbit or something like that, right?
Yep.
And basically it measures distance and time between the two devices. So you can wear it in a wristband, you can attach it to clothing, all that kind of stuff. But these players will have it on them for all of their waking hours, basically, like while they are in Indianapolis. So if somebody pops positive, so long as they have been kept, because every single player is getting their own hotel room, everybody's getting separate, and they're not supposed to congregate except for like when they're practicing and all that kind of stuff. So it's how far away from them were you? Like if you were within 6 feet, how long was it? Like all of this kind of stuff. And if somebody does get contact traced, it will be because the data tells them, oh man, they have been in a serious exposed risk. Now, the NCAA protocol is you only have to have 5 players available to play.
That's right.
That's it. Like, you don't have to have a bench full. You don't you can rotate if you want to, but if you got 5 guys,
you can play.
Then you can play. And even if you got a guy that fouls out in the middle of the game, like we saw this with Alabama and Minnesota a couple of years ago when Colin Sexton was playing for Alabama, and Alabama's entire bench jumped up because one of the Minnesota players threw down an Alabama player pretty, rashly, I'll say. And the whole bench left the bench. And in the NCAA, the rules are you are out of here. You are ejected if you leave the bench area during a scuffle or whatever.
That's right.
So Alabama played Minnesota 3-on-5. Well, 3-on-8, but 3-on-5 for the remainder of the game. And they kept it within 6 points. Colin Sexton scored 43 points or something. I mean, it was insane.
Yeah.
But this is not uncommon. You will still be able to play so long as you got 5 guys that can actually play.
Right.
So we'll see. It's going to be interesting because this was, man, when this popped this morning that Kansas was out, I said, oh my God. Duke is one thing because they weren't getting in anyway. Kansas was the 2 seed in the Big 12. They were looking at probably a 3 seed in the tournament. Virginia was looking at probably a 4 or 5 seed maybe.
Yeah.
They're already in. The issue is that the tournament starts next Friday. And if it starts next Friday, can you get this thing reeled in within a week? Maybe.
I think so. I
hope so.
I think we're going to be, hang on. When I say I think we're going to be okay, I think somebody is getting bounced and somebody is going to move forward in the tournament without playing a game. Okay. I 100% think at least one of the alternate schools is going to get thrown in the first weekend. And I 100% think at least one school is going to get bounced midway through it because of COVID. I think that's going to happen. I also think we're going to get a champion when it's all said and done. I just do.
Oh, yeah. No, we will absolutely get a There will be – so whoever asked the question, I forget who it was that asked already.
Yeah, I'm sure it was Damien.
If you are not going to get a canceled March Madness. Somebody is going to play in this tournament, and somebody will come out with a trophy at the end of this thing because they cannot go without making $900 million for a second consecutive year. That's just not going to happen. So somebody will. Casey said, I had Louisville winning the ACC. Why the hell couldn't Duke have dropped out a day earlier? Shake my damn head. Look, the way Louisville played in that game, they weren't going to win any other game.
They weren't winning it.
They were never going to win it.
You couldn't beat a shitty Duke team. You're not winning it, man.
Taylor said, I'm concerned there's an overabundance of testing and there's bound to be false positives, and canceling from just one test hurts. So that's the thing. If it is a false positive, that guy is out until he tests out of it. That's why the NCAA is doing this, basically.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you my opinion. My opinion is it's going to end up like the NFL ended, a lot like Major League Baseball ended, a lot like the NBA. At some point in time, we're going to stop getting positive tests for a long period of time. And we're going to be like, holy crap, look how good these guys are doing. And really what it is we're going to have one guy, one Butch Jones sitting in a closet spitting in all the tubes with everybody's name, and every tube that the players spit in is going up in the garbage.
Okay? There you go.
That's what I think because I'm a cynical bastard, and I find it strange that all year we had positive tests randomly throughout the place, and then all of a sudden, right when the dick cutting gets there, all of a sudden all the positive tests stop.
Yep.
Holy cow, we finally got this thing figured out. Really? I don't think we figured this thing out. I just think these are kids. They're really healthy. They're not actually going to get sick. So let's just do this thing.
Casey said, I've got a bad feeling about it. I don't think we're going to make it to the Final Four. Fingers crossed, though. Brown Yeti, It said Duke had just as much of a chance as Mississippi State, which was a snowball's chance in hell.
I agree.
Obi Matt said they can catch these hands. Casey said, couldn't there be false positives? Absolutely. So Taylor jumped in and said rigged. Of course. I love it when the chatters get at each other, man. Love it. Damien, this whole season should have been in a bubble to prevent this from happening. No, the season's been fine.
You can't put – how many college basketball teams do we have? I mean, really? Really?
353.
Football, yeah, I was going to say, football's 130. College basketball is easily double that. So
there you go. Taylor's in his local Hooters again. He's watching Ohio State. Let's see.
Taylor's also reading through the Harry Potter books, which warms my heart.
There you go. Let me guess. Minnesota was favored by 7, says Casey. Just the fact that they kept that within 6 points shows how rigged it is. That's so ridiculous. My lab mate is from Lawrence, Kansas, and he was devastated today. There's no reason to be devastated.
No, they're still going to get in, and they're still going to have a decent seed. And, yes, you want to be in the Big 12. They weren't beating Baylor anyway, okay?
No, I don't think so.
They just weren't.
I
think Baylor – that's the one conference where I just don't really feel upset it's coming.
I don't either. Well, I mean, there's a reason why it's like the number 1 seed versus number 5 and then number 2 versus number 3. Like it. Come on. Let's jump into the next one. We'll stay on college basketball. Bubble teams are dropping like friggin' flies, man. It's going to be tough to get 68 teams in this thing because the teams that are right there on the cut line are playing like complete dog shit right now. They are awful. Michigan State gets wiped out by Maryland. St. John's got beat in the first round in overtime. But they got beat by Seton Hall, who has not played well as of late. Syracuse gets knocked out by Virginia on that buzzer beater yesterday. Boise State, of course, or Syracuse and Virginia was what, 2 days ago or yesterday?
Yeah, I think that was Thursday.
Boise State gets knocked out. They take another really bad loss. That's not good. UCLA takes a quad 3 loss to Oregon State. That was putrid.
Yeah, that was
bad.
That was real bad.
Xavier gets whipped by a pretty bad Butler team, and Louisville. I mean, what is going on? So in case you're talking about Kentucky.
This, there's one bubble team. There's one bubble team that played their ass off and won pretty good, and that was my Ole Miss Rebels.
Most certainly they did. They are looking.
They did not fall away. I do hate that LSU has to play them. That sucks.
Yes. That line is only 1.
It's 1, and I kind of thought that they were going to be favored too.
They have looked like the better basketball team.
So here's what scares me about my game tonight. All right, here's what scares me. First, it's the late game, so I'm probably going to be pretty. It's the most beautiful day it's been in a long, long time. Yep. Chris is sitting outside with a bonfire and a bottle of tequila this evening with the TV on.
Chris might be a little lit up.
By my game, I'm either going to be in tears or outraged or just laughing at everything in the world. I think my LSU Tigers has the best offense in the SEC. I do not think it's close. We have the worst defense maybe in all of like Power 5 basketball. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So Ole Miss has substantially better defense, and I would say one of the top 3 defenses in all of the SEC. And I also think they have the best, and they have a really good offense. So it's not like they suck at offense. And I think they have the best player on the court.
Yeah, they got a superstar.
That's what scares me. That's what scares me. I think it's going to be the best game of the SEC tournament, though. I really do.
Casey said, I think Georgetown may win the Big East. Hey, we're going to talk about Patrick Ewing in just a minute. He said,
I can't wait.
He said, UCLA has lost me so much money this year blowing games. They better not see me on these streets.
Do you think, oh my God, my brain's hurting. The coach that left Cincinnati to go to UCLA.
Mick Cronin.
Well, Cronin.
Yeah.
His name kind of got brought up for that Indiana job if that comes open. Do you think he would leave UCLA because you think maybe UCLA is just not the dream job it is? And
I think he was at a point, like he is a Midwestern guy. His alma mater is Cincinnati, but he left Cincy for UCLA, one, because of the money.
The money in L.A.
Well, and, once you've been at a school for 10, 15 years, however long it is nowadays, if you weren't there, like in the 90s, like building it up, all that kind of stuff, he just took over what Huggins did.
That's right.
And Andy Kennedy
No,
as the
you're
interim.
exactly right.
So it was time for him to get out of town, but I could 100% see him coming to Indiana.
Do you think?
I don't think
so. Here's the question: do you think Indiana's a better job than UCLA?
Yes.
Because I do too, and I think that's kind of blasphemy. Like I kind of want to kick my own ass for saying that, but I think it's true.
No, I think you're 100% right.
So here's the question: why the hell is UCLA not a better job? Why can you not get basketball talent in LA?
No. You can. The issue is the Pac-12 network deal. It all boils down to Larry Scott. Yes,
you think money? Oh, okay. Now I'm all. You know me. I'm all about blaming Scott. So.
Just look on it at its surface. The money that cannot be spent by the football programs always trickles down in these other conferences. So the Big Ten and the SEC have built up.
Our basketball in the
programs.
SEC has gotten so much better since the SEC network TV money. Yes, you're 100% right. Did you see
the 8-9 matchup in the SEC yesterday was Mississippi State and Kentucky?
Yes.
The number of Final Fours between those two coaches, Ben Howland and John Calipari, is astronomical.
Kind of crazy.
And they were the 8-9 game.
Hang on, not just the 8-9 game. I'm gonna bet that did the biggest number out of all of the ratings for the SEC games.
Probably, yeah, because
I bet it was a close game. I bet it did a monster number also.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Now we'll never know the number because it was on SEC Network, but
yeah, it's all right. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. But yeah.
No, I think you're right. Ben jumps in. I hope we get like 4 Mountain West teams. That would be fun. Let's see. Ben said K-State almost beat Baylor. No, they certainly hung with them.
Yeah, I don't worry about scares in the conference tournament. I worry about scares in the big tournament. Conference tournaments, these teams know one another pretty well. You're going to sometimes kick people's ass, and you're also going to get your squeak by the hair of your chin.
Oh yes. Damian said any job is better than UCLA.
Man, that's a bold ass statement, dude.
I don't think that's necessary. He put a bunch of laughing.
Listen, UCLA, I will not handle this besmirchment. I will take one of those jobs. Just hire me. I can't coach anything, but I can.
Remember,
I can pass out money.
UCLA has been going through financial issues. So
because they are the state school, and the state is broke as hell.
Yes. Taylor said Pac-12 higher-ups are shooting themselves in the foot. Yeah, they have been for a decade now.
Man.
Whoever they end up hiring as the new commissioner, that is going to tell you a lot about what direction.
That's a tough job, dude.
Oh, yes.
So out of all like the big jobs that I always clamor for, man, that might be one job I don't want. The only positive of taking that job is I like being the guy that comes from behind an idiot. You got a lot to clean up, but man, you just polish that turd a little bit, and you look like a hero.
Ben said it's Gavin Newsom's fault. It kind of is.
Oh, I do think Gavin, listen, Gary Scott has a lot to do with that too, because it is his conference. And if he could have got conference money, he don't need state money. Listen, Ole Miss ain't using state money, okay? LSU ain't using state money, all right? These are two states that are broke as hell, okay?
Well,
Mississippi and Louisiana got no money. South Carolina, we're the 3 poorest states in the union.
Here is how this works out there, though. Like in Ole Miss or in Mississippi, with Ole Miss and Mississippi State and whatnot, like people care deeply about it.
Yes.
Out there,
yes. They do not.
They don't care as much.
There
are fans, but
all
it's
the
not
people that fell in love with Wooden and the stars out there. Those guys, man, those guys are in their 70s now.
Oh yeah,
like they're done. They're not going to the games.
Yeah. No, it's the same thing with like Memphis basketball. Like for a long time, it was just the Blue Hairs,
Yeah.
So it is what it is. Staying on college basketball now. Casey brought this up, but we are going to talk about Patrick Ewing right quick. So Georgetown having a pretty good showing. Upset Villanova. Obviously, Villanova has not won without Colin Gillespie yet. That is not good. Right. But they lost 2 games without him by a total of 3 points. So
do you think he'll be back for the tournament?
No, he's out. It's a torn MCL.
Out.
Yeah, it's torn MCL.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, then yeah, no, he's out, man. That sucks because they are normally I don't really care where they're seated at. I just assume they're going to make it to the Sweet 16 Elite 8.
Oh, absolutely. They're typically an offensive juggernaut, but they cannot run their offense without their point guard.
No,
that's the way it goes.
No. So that's a very specific offense.
Exactly. Georgetown, however, got the win yesterday. Georgetown has not been great by any stretch of the imagination, but they are playing better as of late. And I wanted to see, let's see, they are 11-12, 7-9 in the Big East. They are playing Seton Hall tonight for a chance to go to the Big East championship game. If Georgetown gets that win, they will face the winner of UConn and Creighton. And this is like the prototypical. It's so nice to have UConn back in this conference, right? Like, it's the prototypical Big East game. And if Georgetown wins, maybe they're the ones that keep Syracuse out, who used to be in the Big East. I mean, the storylines are fantastic. The funniest part about yesterday, though, Patrick Ewing does his post-game interview, all that kind of mess, where he's talking to reporters and whatnot, and he starts complaining. And he's kind of grinning about it. This isn't, a total ego thing.
No.
But
there's a lot of tongue-in-cheek there.
My God, if I didn't laugh hysterically at him complaining about people asking for his credentials, his passes, when he's walking around Madison Square Garden. And he comes out in this press conference, and he's like, what the hell? Do y'all not know who I am? Like, and he didn't say that exactly. It was like, I thought I owned this building. I thought I run this place. I'm going to have to call James Dolan, the owner of the Knicks, and say, is my jersey not up in those rafters? How do these people not know who I am? And it's been 21 years, 22 years since they retired his jersey.
Yes.
But that's still been a little while ago.
So while, yes, him being a big man, a man of his size and stature.
He's like 7'2", isn't he?
You know who he is when he walks in a room. Like, if Gary Payton is walking through an airport with 400 people, I might not be able to pick Gary Payton out in a lineup. Okay. Like, that's going to be hard to do. Patrick Ewing walking through 100 people walking through an airport. I know which one's Patrick Ewing, because he's the one that's a whole head and a half bigger than everybody. And he's got a very distinctive looking face. I mean, it's like trying to pick out Shaq or Karl Malone, or just one of these guys that's just a massive human being that's also crazy famous. Yes, they were famous 20 years ago. I'm an old man now. I was a child when Patrick Ewing was famous. I still know exactly what he looks like. He looks like an older version of the man I knew when I was a child.
He and Larry Johnson and Latrell Sprewell and all that bunch made me a Knicks fan when I was growing up, when I was younger. And obviously I've moved off of it because it was just the hot thing at the time. And
I just like Patrick. Like him doing you know me. I was big on Patrick getting the Georgetown job. I was big on Patrick being good there. I want him to be good. I know there's an asterisk next to the Villanova win. It mattered to me. I want so bad for them to beat Seton Hall just to solidify him in that job. Giving him a marquee win to say, I belong here, because he did take the long approach to getting a head coaching job. He was an NBA assistant for a very, very, very long time and couldn't get head coaching interviews at all, strictly because people weren't hiring big men. They always wanted point guards. They always wanted smaller guys. Yeah. It didn't matter how big of a star you were. If you played a big man position, they assumed you didn't really know the ins and outs of how basketball was played. And it bothered me because regardless of how I felt about the Knicks, I think Patrick is one of the most likable players I've ever grew up watching. And I've carried that my entire life. And I want him to be good. I also think college basketball is great when Georgetown and St. John's and these basically the old Big East schools, they were the mecca of basketball when I grew up. All right. It wasn't Alabama and LSU and Ole Miss. Okay?
No. When the Northeast is good, college basketball is better.
It's great. It's great. It's important. And so him being at Georgetown, I've got a lot of emotional stock in them being great. I want this win. I think this win today will solidify a big justification for Patrick. I do like that he's funny and goofy and quirky and willing to laugh at himself, but also willing to kind of say, hey, I do not need credentials. If I forgot my wallet, you all know who the hell I am.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I like it.
This building, this is my building.
Ohio State just won, by the way, 87-78 in overtime.
Yeah, I do not think that Purdue scored kind of at all in overtime, because didn't they go into overtime at 76 or 74?
72-72. So
okay, so they scored 6 points in overtime.
15-6. 15-6.
Wow.
Yep.
Ohio State just said, "Oh, you're not going to score again."
Yep.
Shit.
So that means we've got Ohio State against Michigan tomorrow.
Love it.
I'm all in. Damien said Ewing got the Spike Lee treatment. Damn. Obi Matt, he is a huge, scary man. Casey said you shouldn't work for Georgetown if you don't know who Ewing is. That should be on the application. It's not that. It's the people that work at MSG. It's the people that work at the
Square
Garden.
Gardens. No,
So,
it's not.
and honestly, you shouldn't be working at Madison Square Garden if you don't know who Patrick Ewing is, honestly. But either way,
Well, the problem is there probably are some 17, 18, 19-year-olds working at Madison Square Gardens that aren't basketball fans. They're just guys that grew up in New York and need a job, okay?
Yeah.
And they're making $12 an hour. I have no idea. I'm sure it's not a lot to work.
Absolutely.
The security at those places is probably very low pay, and they're probably a bunch of young guys that just need a job. Okay?
I think you're right.
I get it. But hey, it doesn't mean that that's not okay. This now is a great time to educate them on who the hell that man is and why that arena is as famous as it is, why it's as important as it is. And all of that centers around Patrick Ewing.
Yes, it most certainly does. Yes, it does. Terry said that's like not recognizing Chuck Norris. Their parents just raised him wrong. That's probably right. Probably
there
right.
You go. I'll give you that. This is a home training situation, not necessarily an individual situation.
Agreed. Let's move into college football for just a minute. Did you see the stuff come out about Nebraska today?
Yeah, I saw they were trying to do it, but I don't know that they actually got it done.
Well, they haven't gotten it done as of yet. But here's what we've got. Nebraska, the Cornhuskers, Mr. Scott Frost, who said that they would play anybody anywhere, just last season, actually. He and the Nebraska staff, the program, whatever, are trying to get out of their game at Oklahoma this year. It's in the third week of the season. They play Buffalo in week 2, Nebraska does, and then they play Oklahoma in week 3. And they're trying to get out of that game. They're trying to get another home game against somebody that they can beat. Now, this was all set up years and years and years ago because it would be the 50th anniversary of whatever that game is called from 1971, number 1 versus number 2. It was like a monumental game.
It was like the game of the century before LSU and Alabama played number 1, number 2. I mean, it was the biggest game of its time at that time.
Yes. So they were doing, a matchup at Oklahoma, and, is what it is. However, I totally understand it from Nebraska's point of view. They are not set up in a position to where they can compete with Oklahoma right now. I don't fault them for this at all. Like, I will absolutely laugh at them because they're not set up to be in a position to do this. But we talk about this for smaller programs all the time. That's what Nebraska is right now. They are still building. Absolutely go try and find you. Get a bye game. They tried to play UT Chattanooga last year. Call up the Mocs. Like, do it up. Like, see what you can do, because it's going to cost you money to get out of this contract. And it's also going to cost you money with whoever you bring in. You're out money either way. So it's either take a loss and possibly miss a bowl game again, or try and find a way to schedule a win, get you that much closer to bowl eligibility. I mean, I think it's a smart move. I think it's laughable, but I do think it's a smart move for where they are right now. You agree?
So this is where we disagree.
Okay.
I believe in the Bobby Bowden philosophy of how to build a program from small. We think of Florida State as a big boy school that has fallen on its face the last couple of years, but growing up, Florida State was not a big boy school.
Agreed.
Okay. Bobby Bowden became what is called a road warrior. Bobby Bowden legitimately said, for me to get credit, for me to build this program, we're in the middle of Tallahassee, okay? We are not Gainesville, all right? We are not Miami, okay? We're not South Florida, we're not in Tampa. We're not in any of the fun parts of the state. We're in the shittiest part of the state, okay?
Yep.
And nobody wants to come play here, so I got to get us on TV, and not a lot of games were on TV back then. I got to get us on TV, so he would go on the road to play Alabama, to play Oklahoma, to play Nebraska, to play Michigan. And none of those teams would ever come play him where he was, because there was no value in going to Florida at that time. There wasn't national recruiting. There wasn't any of that stuff. And Florida State was a nobody. All right. And so he packed his bags and he went on the road to play all of these teams. And he got beat by a lot of them, but eventually he got to a point where he beat them. But the way he built his program was going and playing big boy teams. And I believe that you get better playing better competition. Okay. I believe that. All right. Now, at some point in time, you got to be respectable. You can't go get blown out 57-9. All right. Like, that's just not going to cut it. But But if you go and you can make a game of it that's going to be on national TV, you might get one or two kids that say, I want to go play for that team. They start learning about the history of Nebraska. You have to find a way to teach this new generation of kids that Nebraska used to be this historical team. And do you want to be a part of making something great again? And if you can sell that, then that's your only way to relevancy if you're going to be Nebraska, because you don't have enough local homegrown talent. You can't swing a dead cat and hit any 5-star recruit, much less rarely any 4-star recruit. Okay. So it's just, I think it's important to play these games and don't run away from people. What I think this is I think this is Scott Frost looking at his record and looking at the conference schedule next year and seeing if I put up another losing season, I might be out of here.
Oh yeah, it's very possible.
I might be fired. And if you're the athletic director, you might be looking at it and thinking the exact same thing. Is I might be fired if we don't win.
Yeah, it gets serious after a little while. So I can see both sides of the argument. Obviously, I'm in the camp of, if you're going to rebuild it, you probably need to still be there. So I don't know that a 4-touchdown loss on the road at Oklahoma is going to help you do that. But I don't know how much.
I agree with that, but get better. Get better. Agreed. Prepare and don't go get beat by 4 touchdowns.
Yes.
Show up and try to play football. Hell, figure out a way to play keep away. Change your offense. Do something different. Play Army football for one game and hold the ball for 50 minutes of the 60.
That would be one way to go about it. And I don't know that that's possible with the way that they do things, but yeah, you never know.
But this is the bed that they've made. I find it just ridiculously embarrassing for them to try to run away from a big boy team when they're supposed to be big red. Game day was there a couple of years ago against Ohio State, and I laughed at it. And I said, this is ridiculous. Yeah. This is just ridiculous. There's 100 other schools that you could go to this weekend, and you're going to pick them. You're going to whore yourself out for ratings because every Nebraska fan in the world who has a massive fan base, a great fan base, is going to turn this TV game on for 15 minutes, and then they're going to turn it off because it's going to be a 50-point game.
Well, it was
chose to do.
It was an easy sell, though, wasn't it? Like, both teams were undefeated.
Well, it was week 1 of the season. No, week 2 of the season. They both played a pay-for-win.
It was like it was like week 4 or 5, something like that.
I assure you it was not week 4 or 5. I guarantee you it was not week 4 or 5.
I'll
they
go
are
back.
Not playing a conference team yet at all.
What was that? 2018 or 2017?
No, it was not last year's, year before.
So maybe 2019. I will double check it. So 2019.
Kirk Herbstreit said they were a dark horse to win the national championship that year. And I said, I wish that they would.
Oh, no, they weren't undefeated. Hold on. They were 3-1 before Ohio State came in.
But did they have a conference win?
Yeah, they won at Illinois the week before that.
Okay, congratulations. There you go. They just beat Kansas.
They beat South Alabama. They lost in overtime on a field goal at Colorado. They beat Northern Illinois, and then they won at Illinois, and then So, it is what it is. They ended up 5-7. Not great. But either way, let's talk some NFL. You want to do that?
Come on. Yeah.
Let's do it. All right. We're going to talk about your boys first. Cam Newton is back with the Patriots.
Yeah,
Expound.
When I saw this deal, I will tell you, I hate NFL reporting. I really, really hate it because everybody was reporting 1 year, $14 million. And all I kept saying was to stop saying that because it's not a 1 year, $14 million deal.
Yeah, it's not a guaranteed $14 million.
Who has paid 5 minutes of potential to football knows Bill Belichick didn't just pay him $14 million. That did not happen. Please tell the damn truth about the contract. If you don't know the details, then don't say shit, okay?
Yeah.
And what is it? It's a 1 year, $5 million deal.
With incentives that could get it up to 14.
If he makes a Pro Bowl, really doubt he's going to do that. You got to be one of the top 6 quarterbacks in the NFL to make the Pro Bowl.
Yep.
All right. Don't foresee him doing that. If they make the playoffs, they get an incentive. That I think they could do, but Cam's going to be the determiner of that. And if they win the Super Bowl, Okay. He gets $14 million. That is how he can make $14 million. All right. His signing bonus was $1.5 million. His roster bonus to make the roster is $1.5 million. And then there's $2 million guaranteed. That's salary. He's going to make $5 million this year unless he makes a Pro Bowl and they make the playoffs. He's going to make $5 million, which makes him the lowest paid quarterback in the NFL that's not on a rookie contract.
Yep. And they still, because it's such a cheap deal, they could still draft a quarterback.
Well, yeah.
They could still
I
go
assume
sign
they will
a quarterback.
probably still go after another quarterback.
Yeah. No, this is – part of me wondered if this was pity. And now, hear me out on this, because I don't think they did a very good job of protecting Cam last year. I don't think the Patriots were at their best when they brought him in, and he was not set up to succeed there.
No,
so I wonder if they are trying to. I don't know if it's
pity. I think this is the best offer Cam got.
Oh, 100%. But
I think they paid him another lowball offer. I think they made him another lowball offer. And I think he took it because nobody else picked up the phone to call him, give him an offer.
That's what I'm saying, is that he took even less money last year.
Well, yeah.
So this year, I'm wondering if they
didn't give him more money this year because they wanted to. I think they gave him more money this year because they had it to give. I mean, I think this would have been the contract that he would have gotten last year. You know, I don't think Bill's so cheap that he's not going to pay a quarterback $5 million, that has any kind of pedigree at all. I mean, we've had backups make substantially more than that in the past. So I don't think that's the case. I just think last year they didn't have it. They literally gave him every penny they had. And which ended up being like $3.6 million, $3.8 million, something like that. It wasn't a lot.
Yeah.
So now he's getting $5 guaranteed, which they've got a shit ton of money this year, but they're not giving it to him. Agreed. Unless they win a Super Bowl. And then if you win a Super Bowl, then you give him whatever he's worth because it's infinite.
At that point,
it's worth a ton.
Yeah, absolutely. It's absolutely you can't put a price on that if he's able to win. Casey jumped in on the comments. I don't understand re-signing Cam Newton. If you can get Trey Lance or Zach Wilson, why not? Well, but here's the thing: you'd have to trade up to be.
They can't get Trey Lance or Cam Newton. Yeah. They're picking 15. Those guys aren't going to be there at 15.
Let's see. Taylor said Kansas is the dark horse to win next year, and puts a laughy face. Hey, don't count it out. They sign up Kevin Kelly. I'm just saying, you stop punting and you might have an opportunity there. Brown Yeti, I don't like teams like Texas and New England using the past as to say they should be good. Mississippi State has history as a baseball school, but a Thunder and Lightning was years ago. Let's talk about that today, or let's talk about today. Taylor said I should grow the mane back out. I would agree with that, but I just got my hair cut. I kind of like it. Casey, with all the defensive guys coming back, Cam might make the playoffs, but what's the point of that during a rebuild? What is Bill doing? Damian said the Pats are screwed, and Damian said I'm shocked he didn't get a call from, and then nothing. So, I mean, who knows?
He said Rivera. $5 million is what they're paying him. If you're not screwed, there are teams paying their kickers $5 million. I assure you that $5 million is nothing.
Why is anybody shocked that he didn't get a call from Rivera? Rivera benched him. Rivera started Kyle Allen over him.
I don't understand that just because you used to play for somebody, that guy owes you a call to try to offer you another deal. And he might have gotten a call from Ron. And Ron said, hey, I see you played last year on a $3 million deal. You want to come to Washington and be a backup for $3 million? And Cam probably, or compete for the starting job, but we'll pay you the same $3 million that the Pats paid you last year. And he might have listened to that until the Patriots made it 5. We don't know that the Pats got to 5. We're not privy to the negotiations to getting to 5.
Yeah. Casey,
but at the end of the day, this is a $5 million deal. If you think that they're screwed because they pissed away $5 million on a guy that can't play good, you're wrong. You just don't understand how this works.
Casey went to expound on it. He said, if you can't get Wilson or Lance, why not start Stidham and just get a top 5 pick next year?
They're done with Stidham because they're not going to tank. They're not going to tank.
They don't tank. We talked about this last year.
That's never happening. And they obviously do not like Stidham. I'm not in the practice. I'm not on the field. I'm not there. They obviously do not believe Stidham can play. But he's on a really cheap rookie deal, so he's a great backup. He's doing what they expect of him to do. But if they thought he could play, don't you think he would be playing?
I mean, I feel like he would have played more last year than he did.
Yes.
I'll just say that.
Now, here's one thing that has come out since Cam signed this deal. Apparently, Cam is a great locker room guy, and a lot of those older veteran guys, surprisingly on the defensive side of the ball, really like Cam and trust Cam more than Stidham, and they support Cam. So that has a lot to do with if he's a great locker room guy and he's a hard worker, $5 million is not a lot of money to spend on your quarterback.
Agreed. Damian asked, do you think they can still do a trade for Jimmy G? I mean, I think it's possible.
Yeah, I think it's possible. Everything is still available for them to do anything else they want to do at quarterback. Paying Cam $5 million a year changes nothing in their plans at quarterback. Nothing.
Yeah. Hey, Brown Yeti said, sorry, I'm driving hard to type. NE is Nebraska, not New England. Sorry.
That's okay.
It's all good. It's all good. Either way, it's the same sentiment. We get what you're saying. Moving on, staying in the NFL, let's talk about the Chiefs for a minute. I'm going to assume that the Chiefs said, you know what? Patrick Mahomes did not lose us the Super Bowl. We saw what he was able to do even with zero protection, and we think that this kid can just run around without an offensive line, so screw it. We're cutting both tackles. Pat, you just go out there. We're going to put 3 offensive linemen out there. We're going to have 5 guys up on the line, but we're going to have 3 offensive linemen.
The other 2 guys are going to be tight ends.
Yep, and you just going to run around and do what you got to do, and next year we're expecting our receivers to actually catch the ball when you hit them in the hands and when you hit them in the helmet with it. Is that what they're doing? Because Eric Fisher and Mitchell Trubisky, Mitchell Schwartz, both were released due to, and we were trying to figure this out. How are they going to pay everybody? How can they possibly stay under the cap with the contracts that they're doing? Because they're signing everybody to big money.
I think they're going to draft offensive linemen, and they're going to hope that they hit on offensive linemen. I guarantee you they draft 2 offensive linemen with the first 2 picks in this draft.
Now, these are 2 guys that were out for the Super Bowl. Like
they were
injured.
both out like
a lot.
Fisher, didn't he blow his Achilles?
I don't think it was an Achilles.
I mean, he might be out for the rest of his life.
It's very
I
possible.
thought it was an Achilles.
Hold on, I'll look it up while we're chatting on it.
So that guy might be done with football. Okay,
it's entirely possible. Let's see. Nope, you're right. Torn Achilles tendon.
Yeah. I don't think he's playing football again. Okay, that is a large man who uses his feet for his job. Okay. What
was the Mitchell Schwartz injury?
I do think that was a knee injury, but it wasn't. I don't think it was anything like that. But both these guys have been in the league for a long ass time.
Oh,
it's not like they just dropped 2 guys in their prime.
It was a quote mysterious back injury.
Oh shit, that's scary.
So
mysterious back. Yeah, I don't like that at all.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Oh, so let's pause for a minute on the Patrick Mahomes like running around. Like the Superman throw where he was laid out, like slinging the ball that quote unquote hit the guy in the hands. You do realize that throw went through 2 defenders' hands before getting there. Should have been picked off by 2 guys. But nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to pay attention to that. That would have been a pick.
You know I'm joking.
No, I know that. You're joking. But everybody else thinks, well, he should have – those would have been touchdowns if those guys didn't drop it. Yeah, and if the defense – had any inkling that he could have made that throw, which now they have film that he can make that throw, they would be ready to catch the ball because they never thought the ball would be coming their way. And now that's a pick. So while it looks pretty, it's also an interception in the red zone, which is the most dangerous play in the sport. Okay. So let's be real careful with just thinking that's it. I just think they've paid too many people. They've got to get younger and cheaper on the offensive line. I think they're probably going to sign a couple of offensive linemen for the cheap. I don't think they're going to be involved in any of the big money free agent offensive linemen. Might be wrong about that. And I also think they're going to draft several offensive linemen to compete for that position, which this draft now where they're picking way far back, 31. I don't know who's going to be there. I think they're going to have to move up. But I think this draft has some really, really good tackles in it, man. I don't know who's falling to 31, but I think there are 4 or 5 that are like 10, 15-year tackles in the league.
Somebody
you can replace Fisher with the next Fisher. Okay.
Yeah.
A guy
Somebody
that'll
will
be on your team
there
for 17 years.
I don't even think they need to move. I think somebody will be there. There are a lot of wide
somebody
receivers.
Will fall to him that far?
Yes. There are several tight ends that could go early. There are a ton
but the problem
of quarterbacks
is tackle is a position that is really hard to find elite guys at, and
Agreed.
I think there's a lot of bad offensive linemen out there.
There absolutely are, but I would almost guarantee you that one of the good ones is going to fall because there's only 32
I'm going to tell you
spots.
this: if let's say there's 4 that you love, and they're all and 3 are taken, you need to do. It is your responsibility as a GM to do whatever you can to move up to that next spot and get that guy. Because if they all get taken, I think you're screwed. I think you're screwed.
So Rashawn Slater and Penei Sewell are not going to be there. Alex Leatherwood could fall. I mean, there's a ton of guys. Obviously, there's other offensive linemen, but I think that they might be in an okay position just standing firm at 31 and not giving up anything to go get it, because I think there are going to be guys looking for edge rushers. There's going to be guys looking at cornerback. There's going to be all kind of stuff.
There's also going to be guys like that wide receiver thing you just said. Here's the problem with the wide receiver thing. Wide receivers are falling because of that, because there's so many of them. Last year, the 5th best wide receiver in the draft looks like the best wide receiver in the draft. And every year we're getting that. And I think that's going to mean the elite guys are still going to go quick, but that next tier of what people are projecting guys, they're looking at A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf last year, even those first round, Justin Jefferson, like all those guys, I think they're all going to be 2nd and 3rd round guys now, because they don't know the difference between the 3rd best guy and the 7th best guy.
That's a good point.
And if you need a tackle and you don't need a wide receiver, and I think a lot of people need tackles. I actually think the offensive line play is getting better, but there's a lot of teams that need to shore that up.
No, I think you're right about that. Matt said we need to let him back on the show to talk about those injuries. Taylor said, thankful for this podcast. I'm reading the Harry Potter books for Chris, so I've been out of the Twitter sphere lately. Chiefs might be planning on playing Trubisky at O-line. It said Brown Yeti. Yeah, it's entirely possible. Damian said, please, God, take Trubisky. I love this. Casey said Mahomes would have won if he was on the Bucs by 50. Come on now, Brady's not even close to as good as Mahomes. We are not getting into that today. Do not start, Chris. We ain't got to get into that today. Brown Yeti said, use him as a decoy, trick the defense into going after the slow and weaker prey. Casey said, Chiefs will address O-line. They have LDT and Niang coming back this year. If you grab a quality offensive tackle and center between free agency and draft, the Chiefs will be fine. Brett Veach and Andy Reid will get it done. And I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that at all.
I'm sure they're going to address it. The problem is the way they're going to address it is going to be with unknowns.
Yes.
Because you're only going to be able to get one premier tackle in the draft. I do not think they have the cap room to go sign a big time. So you're going to take projects.
Yes.
That means you got 3 holes. You got a center and 2 tackle positions. The 3 most important pieces of the line. No offense to the guard guys, but your 2 tackles and your center are far more important than either of the guard positions.
Do you remember who the Buccaneers took in the first round last year?
Yes, I do. The offensive lineman that I wanted my Brownies to take, I thought he was going to be the best.
Tristan Wirfs.
I always mispronounce his last name.
Wirfs.
What?
Wirfs.
Wirfs. That's it. Yeah.
So yeah, no, that's where you get good. You go and get you one of them. Now they were
Wirfs,
obviously.
I mean, Wirfs was what, 15th, 12th?
No, I thought he was like at 10 maybe.
Well, he might have been,
but
like, and there were 3 tackles taken by him. He was the 3rd one of them. This is why I'm saying every year these teams, yes, there's a lot of elite talent out there. I think they're realizing with a good offensive line, we can kind of make anybody a good quarterback. I think some of these teams are learning we need to build in the trenches. A, you want these guys when they're young because they're better when they're young. And B, they just cost so much in the free agent market.
Oh, yes.
And therein lies the situation of if you're 31, I do not think an elite tackle is going to be there. I think you're going to take the 5th or 6th best tackle on the board, and I don't think that guy's going to be worth that spot. And whatever you need to do to get in that top 5, you don't have to get in the top 10, but I think you damn sure need to be getting in the top half of this draft.
I think you might be right about that. Casey said, yes, it's technically a 1-year rebuild with the Chiefs right now.
I disagree with that.
I don't think
that
it's a
team
rebuild.
that loaded, they're not rebuilding at all. They're just going to try to find somebody to hold that spot.
Yeah, just plug the hole. That's, easy.
That's it.
Damien said, sorry to change subject. Speaking of Mahomes, do y'all think Dak is really worth Mahomes' money? Go back and listen to Wednesday's podcast. We let off the show with it. We talked for, 20 minutes about it. So definitely go and check that out. Let's close off with this. That would be one Mr. Thomas Brady has re-signed. He has signed an extension with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and by doing so, he cut his salary cap hit for this season and tacked it on down the line so that they would be able to get under the cap for this year. Because we talked about it the other day, it dropped 8%. It went from like 197 million, 195, whatever it was, down to 182.5 million. And, I think this is smart. I mean, he just won you a Super Bowl. There is no sign of him, deteriorating or anything like that. He is in peak physical condition. And if you got to get under the cap, he'd rather it come off of his salary as opposed to anybody else's. Keep the team together. Right. Keep this thing rolling.
Keep everybody happy.
I think it's a great move. I don't see any reason why you would not extend him right now. This goes out through the 2024 season now.
Yep. So this coming days after Dak Prescott basically grabbed Jerry Jones by the short hairs and brought him to his knees financially. And, good on Dak to go get his money, and that's fine. But are we playing for checks or are we playing for championships? And this is where one guy's been doing one thing and the rest of the league has been doing another. And there's a damn good reason why he's winning them and they're not.
I will say this, of course, we've talked about this a ton, but Brady don't really need the money. Like,
yeah, but at some point in time, hang on now. Yes, you're right. He doesn't need the money. But in the grand scheme of a couple of broke-ass guys doing an internet show, none of these guys need the money. That one yogurt commercial that Dak did paid him more than Dak ever thought he would make his entire life.
Okay? Probably paid him more. Yoplait paid him more than the Cowboys did for his first 4 years.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So in the grant, not that they're not worth it, not that you shouldn't pay it. If my team is under the salary cap and I'm the best player on the team, basically my argument would be whatever's left in the salary cap you owe me every year. Okay, I'll give you a cap friendly deal to where you can get talent around me and make sure I'm highly compensated, and I'll get a bunch of advertising money and all this stuff. But if you got $20 million left on top of the cap this year, I get all 20. Okay,
that's a good
idea.
If
you got 5, I get all 5. If you got 100 because we were cheap, the Patriots had 90 million, or one team last year had like $90 million, something like that. Like I get all 90. You gotta pay it all to me. Okay. That would be if you need to get paid. Don't let it go back into the owner's pockets. I don't feel bad for them. This ain't about them. It's about making the rest of the team good. And if you told the owners you owe me every penny of extra salary cap money, then I guarantee you they would spend it on getting better players around you.
I agree. Taylor, closing this thing out, given Chris's favorite sports teams, I would never guess he was from Mississippi.
Well, that's exactly where I'm from. I'm from a place that doesn't have sports teams.
Yeah,
we don't have a local
sports
team.
Yeah, he might be.
If I was from Kansas, then you'd be it would be shitty of me to be a Browns fan and a Pats fan.
Yeah. I mean, then you'd be a Kansas City.
Yeah, I'd be a Royals fan. Like you just pull for the local teams. That's fine. We grew up in Mississippi. We don't have teams. And my whole life, people try to sell me that the Braves are your local team. Oh, that's bullshit. Okay, they are 6.5 hours away from me.
Yeah,
they might as well be on another continent.
The Cardinals are closer than that. So
they're 5.5 hours.
Yeah.
Now
it's more
might
like
as well have been Egypt when I was growing up, okay?
Agreed.
We grew up poor, and we didn't leave the state other than to go across the town to Tennessee. We didn't go to Nashville. Of course, nothing was in Nashville growing up that wasn't the city it is now. Like, my mom had a friend that lived in Little Rock, another state with no damn team in it, all right? And we would go once a year every summer to spend in the mountains in Little Rock at her house. That was a trailer.
Yep. That was the vacation.
Yeah, that was my vacation. All right. So my sports teams were the teams on TV, which I watched the World Series. I fell in love with the Red Sox. That was TV. And that was just it. Once I fell in love with the Red Sox, everything else was done until I fell in love with Cleveland.
Well, I mean, that was me and the Knicks up until Memphis got a team.
Yeah.
And now I'm Grizzlies through and through. It is what it is. All right, is there anything else that's broken? Like, is any?
Yes, actually, there was something that came through. I knew you were going to ask that, and I tried to save it. Here it is. Brett McMurphy tweets out, new overtime rules in college football proposed that they go the 2-point conversion overtime rule. They are no longer going to play. It's basically going to be the one play after 3 downs.
So it is complete sudden death, like one play.
One play. So it's the 2-point conversion after 3 overtimes, but
now
you
they're
don't
doing
have
it after
to get the touchdown.
Yeah, now it's
just
starting
have one
in the
play from the 2.5. Is that it?
So starting with second overtime, teams required to go for 2-point conversion. And so the first overtime is like normal. Starting in the second one, you have to go for 2. You have to go for 2 if you score a touchdown. Third overtime on, you only have the 2-point shootout. So
it's just
moving
one
it up
play, and it's 2.5, right?
Yeah.
One play from the 2.5-yard line, you don't get it. The other team gets the ball. One play, 2.5. First team to score wins. If you score and you got the ball first, the other team gets a shot.
And then you keep going from there until somebody.
Let me tell you what I think is going to happen. If you think a game is going to be close and go into overtime, bet every over there is.
You sure?
Yes. Because I think offenses are so good I think offensive scheming is so good from the 2 yards or closer. Offensive play calling and all that stuff is so good. The defenses are at such a disadvantage because it happens in half a second. I think the defenses are at such a disadvantage. I think because they're only going to get 2 points.
Yeah,
they're not going to get touchdowns.
I was saying. That's
maybe not. Maybe that skews it. Because I'm trying to think back to that, the LSU A&M game. Like you got no shot if you ever had the under because that game going to score 80.
Hold on, that game was 24-24. So then they both scored a touchdown in the first overtime. That's 31-31. And then from there, it would only be 2 points each time instead of touchdowns.
That's right.
So that game would have never.
I was thinking every time you scored 6.
Just 2.
It's just 2. You're right. Never mind then. So I do think it's still going to get up there.
Oh, I think it absolutely could.
I think it's going to be crazy as hell.
I want to see if they actually roll with this. I want to see. But it's being proposed, so it's going to be talked about. I wouldn't be against it. I'll tell you that.
All right. I'm going to give you an over-under on the season. Over-under fat guy touchdowns. I'm going to make the number 10.
Oh, I'd go under.
Oh, it's going to go over.
I would go under.
Every team that goes into overtime that gets to this point, every one of them is going to run at least 1, if not 2, fat guy touchdown plays.
Like a tackle eligible?
Yep. Every one of them. Every one of them. Because with the extra tackle being on the field, makes your run game such a live dog.
That is a valid point. That's So that would be if we get this many overtime games. So we didn't get a lot of overtime games last year.
Yeah, last year I'm throwing everything out. Last year,
yeah,
all numbers, all stats, all analysts that goes into last year's numbers, you can take them, ball them up, throw them away. They're all garbage.
That's it. You're probably right about that. All right, let's get out of here.
I think we're going to get a lot of fat guy touchdowns.
I think you might be right about that.
Which I'm for then.
I'd totally be all in on that. That's one of the more entertaining plays in all of football.
You get a fat down touchdown, and then you get a fat guy touchdown dance.
You have got that right.
That's the rule.
You guys need to get out and watch some basketball tonight. We have got some fantastic games going on. We will be back again on Monday. Going to talk to Chris. We're going to figure out what we're going to do for the NCAA tournament. We haven't quite decided that yet. We might be together next Friday. We might be still doing the show, but maybe do it a little early. I have no idea. We're going to figure it out for next Friday. But
if
Monday and Wednesday,
today, I'm going to be sauced.
Monday and Wednesday, that's still normal, still whatever. But we will figure it all out. It'll be fine. And Chris, I might be sauced right there with you. So we will get this thing taken care of. You guys have been fantastic. Thank you for jumping into the chat. Of course, share out the show. I didn't do the reads earlier. It's winningcureseverything.com. That's the website. SBRpicks.com/NCAAF. That is our college football gambling content that you can find. Our video for Sportsbook Review from this week, Week 8 of the offseason, FCS Week 4, is up over at SBR Picks on YouTube. Just go search it out. Very easy to do. And the Winning Cures Everything Bracket Challenge is up. The link will be in the description. Go ahead and check that thing out. Of course, you can also find it on Wednesday's show in the description there as well. or just go to the ESPN Tournament Challenge and look for Winning Cures Everything. The group is open. You can all jump in. It's going to be a good time. So, Damian said, are y'all still doing a bracket? Yes, that's what I was just talking about. So, you can click the link in the description. As soon as we get done, I will go and update it because I don't think I put it in there earlier. But either way, go and sign up for that. We're going to have a damn good time. The bracket comes out Sunday night. Chris, we might do an emergency podcast on Sunday night once the bracket comes out. I don't know. We'll figure something out.
I got no plans.
That's kind of how I am right now.
I'll be sober by Sunday.
All right, you guys are great. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Share the show out, and hopefully we can all cash some tickets this weekend. Thanks for checking out Winning Cures Everything. If you want to keep up with us, hit subscribe on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. Visit the website at winningcureseverything.com, or you can like us on Facebook or follow us at Winning Cures, at Gary WCE, or at Chris B. Giannini on Twitter. Share out the show, leave a nice review,